welcome back to Astroways. Last week we talked about the 5 elements in our human body. Now if you go back to our case studies, some things start to make sense. The reason why I didn't talk about the 5 elements in an in-depth level before we started to read charts was because there's too much information and new terms to remember, and it's hard to explain without some real-life case studies. But now that we've done some case studies, we've tickled a few parts here and there, then we go back to the boring lessons. Seems like it's not that boring now, isn't it? Anyway, 5 elements are absolutely everywhere in our life. From the case studies, you've already learned how to find your husband or wife element, your parents' element, your children element. But there are more than these 3 types of members in our family, right? You have grandpa, brothers and sisters, grandchildren. How do you see them? What's the connection between us? And even when I said parent element, you want to know what's your mom's element and what's your dad's element. And for children element, which one is son and which one is daughter? Today, let's dive into this topic about our beloved family members, and you have answers for all these questions. First, remember the gender of your family members. Male family members are your dad, your grandpa, your brother, your son, your grandson, your husband. Female members are your mom, your grandma, your sister, your daughter, your granddaughter, your wife. Now, we'll list out all the members. First, we have to know if the self element is male or female. Is this person a guy or a girl? Second, we have to see if the self element is yin or yang. For example, for male, imagine you're a guy and your self element is yin, then all the yin elements are the same gender as you, your same party. So your dad element would be yin, your grandpa would be yin, your brother is yin, etc. And all the female family members you have are yang. Your mom is yang, your sister is yang, your daughter is yang, okay? On the opposite side, if you're a male and your self-element is yang, then all the male family members would be yang, and all your female family members would be yin. Remember this, families who are the same party as you, they have the same gender as you. Same thing goes with female self-elements. If you are yin female, all the female families are yin and all the male families are yang. Now let's go one by one. If you are a yin male, your mom, the one who gave birth to you, is the element that produces your self-element, but in a different party. For example, if you are yin wood, your mom would be yang water, okay? Your dad would be the element that restricts your mom's element. What's the restriction to water? Earth is. What's your dad's gender? Same as you. So your dad would be yin earth. What about your grandma? Your grandma gave birth to your dad. If your dad is yin earth, then your grandma would be yang fire. What about your grandpa? Your grandpa would be the one restricts your grandma and with the same gender as you, which is yin water. You see, there's a loop going back. And what about your brothers and sisters? Your brothers and sisters are the same generation as you, so they would be the same elements as you. Brothers would have the same gender, which is yin wood, and your sister would be in a different party, which is yang wood. Your wife, of course, is the element restricted by you and in a different party, which in this case would be yang earth. Your son is the one your wife gives birth to, so he would be the element that produced by your wife element and in the same party as you, which is yin metal. Your daughter, same as your son, produced by your wife, but in a different party, which is yang metal. your grandson and granddaughter, they would be the elements that your son and daughter produces, which you're gonna figure it out yourself. Now for females, same example. If you're a yin-wood female, your mom would be the one produces you and in the same party, which is in this case is yin water. Your dad would be the element restricts your mom's elements and in a different party, which would be yang earth. Your grandma and grandpa, you go figure it out yourself. Your husband is the one restricts you, which is yang middle. Your son and daughter are the ones you give birth to, which is yang fire and yin fire. Your grandma and grandpa, again, you go figure it out yourself. Now, there are some alternatives here. For mom, dad, husband, and wife, these 4 elements are the most important ones. I'm not saying son and daughter are not important. What I mean is son and daughter elements, you don't have to have both. Some people only have sons and some people only have daughters. They don't need alternatives. But for mom, dad, husband, and wife, you can only have one. So if you are yin wood, if you can't find any yang water, but you have yin water, then we can take yin water for an alternative element representing your mom. Same goes for dad. If you can't find any yin earth, but you have yang earth in your chart, then we can also take yang earth to represent your dad. Same for husband and wife. If you don't have the different party elements, you can also take the same party elements to represent your husband and wife. These are the alternatives for mom, dad, husband, and wife. And only these 4 have alternatives. With these family members' elements, we've learned, you can check if your elements are in place. Like I said, in place is always a good thing because that means the representative element is where it needs to be. Now, when we look back to the case studies we did, you can see more things we hadn't talked about before in these people's charts. Winston Churchill, for example, his father element is in place. His dad played a very important role in his life. He influenced him in many ways. Bruce Lee is another example. His mother element is in place. Even it's the same party, but like we said, it's an alternative element. You can take it. And we also know Bruce Lee as a great martial artist, but not many people know his mom was from one of the first wealthiest family in Hong Kong. And he had a great relationship with his mom. Most people don't actually have their elements in place. So not having them in place doesn't mean your relationship with them is not good. It doesn't matter. And for people who don't actually have some of the elements at all in their chart, you don't need to worry either. I'm sure in some of your 10 years luck pillar, you'll come across them and they'll make an impact in your life. Now, you may ask, I'm a guy, I'm a yin wood, then my brother should be yin wood, but my brother's self-element is yang earth. He's not yin wood. Guys, your chart is your chart. Your brother's chart is your brother's chart. There are 2 different Bazi charts. Your brother element is not your brother's self-element. Your brother element in your own chart only represents the relationship between you and your brother. It doesn't mean your brother's Bazi chart has to be that element. Okay? Alright guys, that's all for today. If you want to have your personal chart reading with me, you can email me at astroways.info@gmail.com or find me on Facebook at Astroways. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to know more about metaphysics, please subscribe my channel and I'll keep you updated. Bye.